All right, everyone. Welcome back to another live Canada Immigration Q&A. I'm your host, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer. I think I even have my name here. There it is. Hey, I'm an immigration lawyer. Excellent. Welcome back. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, wondering what the heck this is all about, this is your opportunity to literally ask me anything. And for the most part, as long as your questions are of general kind of applicability, you're asking for information versus direct legal advice on what you should do, it's open season. And I am completely open to answer any of your questions that you might have associated with the Canada immigration process. So we'll wait for a little bit as people are connecting in, and we'll just see. Hopefully I set this up properly when I was scheduling this, because I've had a lot going on lately, including a live stream just 20 minutes before it just wrapped up. So let's see who we've got here. So we've got LinkedIn, we know is connected. That's great. I'm just waiting to see here if Facebook users are also connected. Let's just see here. Usually we have a ton that have been climbing in here, but hopefully the other one wasn't too close to this one that it didn't like it. Let's see here. So it says that I'm live, so I guess we'll see. Okay, now people are finally starting to connect in. I always get a little nervous about this because there's so many things that can potentially go sideways on this that I just don't want to, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going live and no one is seeing it. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to turn my light down here a little bit. It's pretty bright in here. Okay, so yes, we are live, and I just want to let you guys know that I just finished releasing this video here, which are my top 6 takeaways to the strategy to expanding transitions to permanent residence that Minister Fraser announced yesterday. The reality is this one right here, it really isn't just fluff. Like, there's a lot in there that's general, but I encourage you to go over there and watch that. Also, I have a blog post, and I'm just going to pull this up here on our, I'm going to pull up the blog post associated with it, which I just launched. So let's see if we can find it. Okay, it's just getting launched here. So we'll just, we will get that sorted out. I'm just going to clear a little browser data. So yes, jump in. I want you to connect in, leave a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And I love to see where people are connecting in at this time of the morning. So let's just see here. I'm going to try one more time to pull up the site, and we should be okay. I just want to show you where the blog is, and there, it's good. Okay, so here's the blog post. So if you want to have a quick little read, jump onto our website, and all you have to do is just go to resources, click on blog, and then I have my top 6 list of key takeaways from Minister's report and the strategy to expand transitions to permanent residence. So take a look at it. These are things that are not like readily visible, but they're just my thoughts on what this means for individuals who are looking to apply for permanent residence in the future, and those that are in Canada now, what it means for them. And then you can see at the top here that for the month of September, from September 21st through to the end, we have reduced our consult rates. So if you click on Speak to a Lawyer and you scroll down, you'll see that we have dropped our rates just to recognize, well, the reality that everybody is suffering. And I know a lot of you, that $100 goes a long ways. And, with me and my family, as I indicated in the last video I just did, I just bought 3 bags of groceries, and it was over $200, all because we purchased fruit and vegetables and, healthy food. And for you guys that were out of work for a long time and are only now probably just getting your first paychecks back, $100 goes a long way. So we wanted to try to do that at least for the remainder of September. So any questions you have, anything specific, legal advice that you're looking for, please consider sliding over here and letting us help you. And, we do everything that we can to try to give back. So yeah, for the month, if you schedule, you book that right now between September the 21st and 30th, you will be able to take advantage of that. And then the rates will roll back in October. All right. And the reality is there was a time I was actually charging $400, twice as much. But my goal here is not to price myself so high that only the elite can afford me. Okay, there we go. So let's see who we have here. Okay, so let's see. Ghislaine says, I'm always present, Mark. Ghislaine was in the other video. Thanks for tuning in. Abdu, hey, it's great to have you over in LinkedIn. We're actually getting some good connection here with LinkedIn. That's awesome. Thanks for connecting in. Okay, so this LinkedIn user has probably not followed everything that I've been doing, but he says, do you think Sean Fraser will make any important announcements related to TR to PR pathway by October, November? No, I don't think personally that there is going to be a TR to PR pathway. I think the minister is going to adjust express entry. And so I actually don't expect there to be any direct changes right now to the TR to PR pathway. What I expect them to do is to modify the comprehensive ranking criteria, the CRS criteria and express entry to target draws. That's what I expect him to do. Okay, good to see you, Amit, down in Virginia. As always, I hope things are going well for you there. New World says, does remote work experience count towards CEC? It does if you're in Canada, but not if you're outside Canada. Okay, this is a great question. Sukhpreet says, are immigration officers trained with the new tier system since the RCC was busy with backlogs? Your thoughts being the ex-immigration officer. I honestly believe that they are not trained yet in tier. Usually this happens kind of a couple weeks before they launch it. November is still over a month away. And so I don't anticipate that they've received too much training in tier, but let's face it, the training really isn't that involved. The principles behind tier are the same as the principles around NOC. They've just assigned a different place for that position, and any new positions, they've just modified them and created new job descriptions. So really, it's just a matter of mapping your reference letter job duties that are listed there with the job duties for IRCC as they're set out in the NOC profile description. So that's really what it's all about. So it's not rocket science. It's more what I'm worried about, you guys, is Friday, right? I am absolutely terrified about Friday. And Alicia did a blog post on this exact topic, and it is going to be released here. Actually, I'm just going to send Igor a little message here. Awesome. Can you please post Alicia's blog as well so I can reference it there? So Alicia just pumped out a blog post yesterday, and we want to get that up there because that blog post is all about, if I slide back here, I don't think it's quite set up yet. If we go to our blogs, not yet, but there's going to be a blog post from Alicia that's specifically addressing this rollover to online filing, and it's going to be a mess. You guys, I think if I asked you to raise your hands right now, any who have been submitting applications or trying to access the portal have realized how glitchy it is, how problematic it is, how often it falls apart. And you guys, I'm not sure what the issue is. I'll be honest. They've had so much time to work on this, and I don't understand. Like, if this was private industry, the government's immigration department, it would be shut down out of business because it has been just a disaster. And, I hope that all these millions of dollars they're throwing at it is actually going to be useful in correcting things and making the process easier for everyone, like they alluded to, like the minister alluded to in his plan that he released yesterday. And for those of you who are wondering about this plan, this is it here. And if you go back to the video that I just did on that topic right here, you'll see that I've actually got a link in here so that you can see it right in the video, right in the description here. So this is the link to the minister's plan right here, and then a link to my blog post is right there. So, but yeah, this plan, one of the pillars that the minister talks about, which I know you guys are so tired of hearing it, I know you are, is pillar number 5, increasing processing capacity, improving client experience, and modernizing the system through technological improvements. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it does no good to say we're doing everything online when it's really just, version 1.0, when you're beta testing on the backs of all of you guys. So, oh boy. Yeah, there you go. Long answer to a short question, but that's what I do, you guys. Okay. Okay, Barry says, Miles says, will I be able to apply to TR to PR pathway if I am already in the express entry pool? Like I said, I don't believe there's going to be a TR to PR pathway. After looking at what the minister had indicated here, I believe that what's going to happen is not the creation of another program, but the tweaking of express entry. It's really designed as a machine to be able to be fully adjustable, customizable. And that's exactly what the minister has indicated in that report. They're going to make changes. It doesn't mean that they won't surprise us with a program, but the reality is, and it's possible for international students that they might do that. And when I first read the report, it suggested that maybe they were considering a program for international students. But I think more likely, after reading through it and spending the whole evening reviewing and writing that blog post, that it's more likely they're going to be adjusting express entry to accommodate for these changes. Miracle Seeker says, hi, Mark, I'm on implied status. Can I still apply for extension of my postgrad through TR to PR? So if you've already submitted a TR to PR pathway and you have received your acknowledgement of receipt, then you can go through that program based on the parameters for the bridging that's associated with it. Okay. Hardy's down in Chicago. We got a good US connection. Good to see you. Armin back again. Thanks for connecting in. Oh, all these familiar faces. All right, let's see what we have here. Amy. Really, my friend? Is this really the case? Amy says, receive my passport stamp today with the Immigration One counterfoil. Yours and your team's guidance has been extremely helpful. I'll book a consultation once all documents are ready. That is an applause. I know how long you have been waiting for this, Amy. So thank you so much for sharing it. That is fantastic. Oh, yes, I love that. That is awesome. Okay. Kieran says, hello, sir. Do I need to show my bank deposit while applying for a work visa in Saskatchewan? Well, understand that if you're outside of the country and you're applying for a work permit, often they will want the last 3 months of pay stubs. So that's a possibility. And in some cases, they do want to see that you have resources to help yourself get established and that you're doing just fine in your home country and you have a reason to return. So, okay, Gravier says, hey, Mark, can you please tell I have a PCC and it's expired now, but I haven't left Canada after the PCC. Do I need to have a new one again? Well, this is something that I cover in my course, right? These are the exact topics that are covered in detail in my express entry step-by-step guide to doing it on your own. And the short answer is police clearance certificates do not expire if they were issued after you left that country and you haven't returned. So although I would need to look at it directly, Gravier, I can't tell you, 100% if you need to get a new one. It's possible some crazy situation where, your country has now got a new police clearance process and now you have to get a new one with a new title. Happens extremely rarely, but that's really the only circumstance I can see, where you would need it when you first apply. But Gravier, the reality is immigration always reserves the right to request a new updated police clearance certificate. Okay. Ghislaine says, can I apply for a work permit out of Canada while waiting for my express entry result? Well, you can. You just have to tackle that whole issue of work permits and being, requiring temporary intent when you've got a permanent resident application in the queue. It's not unheard of, but it depends on your country, depends on the position, depends on a lot of things. But there's no harm in applying for it if you have the opportunity. Okay, back to LinkedIn. I love to see we've got so many LinkedIn followers here. This is great this morning. Pratik says, hey, Mark, any chance for draw scores to go below 400 levels? My score is 375 way back in 2017. Any change expected in demand list? Well, yes, Pratik, we actually now anticipate because of the, this exact thing right here that I was sharing, this strategy to expand transitions to permanent residence. We know more than ever now that the minister is really going to be focusing on labor market. And when the minister focuses on the labor market and he starts to pick people out based on their direct work experience, it's entirely possible that he may choose to give people in certain occupations, a whopping 200, points, CRS points, because of if their occupations fall on a certain list, their knock codes. And that's something that he's indicated that will happen, their ability to be strategic in how they do it. Now, whether they open that up for international people with that skill set or whether they just target people that are in Canada, generally speaking, I think it's entirely possible to see that, Pratik. So people like you have got great experience and, maybe you're losing points because of age, which is, it's ironic, right? That because you have good experience and you're ready to hit the road and really contribute, but you're older, that somehow you're of less value. Well, It comes down to the years of paying taxes into our socialist systems. So that's how it works. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. I'll just hit this last one for your Gravere. The minimum requirements scores for both IELTS and CELPIP. Well, when it comes for express entry, if it's an FSW, you need to hit CLB 7. And, when it comes to CLB 7, for the CELPIP, that's that exact list. But you can look this stuff up on your own too, Gravere. All you have to do is to go to Google and... okay, if you're wondering what the score you need to hit, you can go to the language test equivalency charts, and that will take you to the government's website. And in here, you can see exactly what it is. So for the Canadian Experience class, if you're in Canada and you have work experience in Canada, for a NOC B, as it stands right now, you need a CLB 5. And so the CELPIP, you can see, is right across the board. So on the CELPIP, you'd need a minimum of 5. If it was a skill level 0 or a skill level A in this Canadian Experience class, then it's a CLB 7, which is a 7 across the board. For the Federal Skilled Worker Program, it's also a 7 is the minimum, which for the CELPIP is a 7. But for most people, they're applying under IELTS. And if you're an FSW outside of Canada, then you need to have at least a 6 across the board to get into the pool. And if you're inside Canada, you can see a 5 is a 4, 5, 5, 5. So 4 in reading and 5 in the rest to hit a CLB 5 if you're a NOC B. All right. And same thing, obviously, for a CLB 7. There you go. So it's all findable, all locatable. Okay. Okay. So Vincenity, I have to ring the bell here. So any questions like that, I need a little bit more information. He says, I want to ask a question about CRS description for 2 or more certificates for the express entry. I have a Canadian bachelor's of 4 years and a Canadian graduate diploma of 4 months. Do I qualify for that? Often when you're cutting, like when you're dropping down to only a semester versus 2 semesters, usually that other credential is not going to work. In discussions that I've had with IRCC in the past, although as you've alluded, there is no clear indication, typically they look at 1 year as being the length for diploma or degree. Now that could be 4 months of actual study, right? 8 months of actual study, but usually 4 months is not enough unless you can really justify that it was some kind of an accelerated program. And that really is the equivalent of about a year. Now you'll never find anything about this within IRCC, and people who do go through that process and submit the documents, it comes down to that officer whether or not they will accept it as 2 or more credentials. Because obviously your 4 years Canadian bachelor's is obviously going to hit that threshold for 3 or more years of undergrad. But ultimately, whether that additional one fits, I've always taken the conservative approach, and it needs to be at least a 1 year. But if you can justify it, there's no harm in taking a run at it. Okay, Lima, good to see you. Thanks for connecting in. Jalal, you're very, very welcome. I love this. We got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, we got Twitter. Well, actually, we don't have Twitter yet. I'm not sure if you can post on Twitter. Okay, yes. And so Alva says, thanks a lot for sharing Fraser's announcement. From my personal perspective, most Canadian employers find complicated to hire foreign workers from outside, especially in the hospitality industry. Well, they're just too lazy to do it is the process. As far as being complicated, the labor market is heating up, and when they're desperate, trust me, they'll figure it out. Now, one of the advantages, Alva, is that law firms like mine, we help employers navigate this process all the time. And in fact, I actually have a course that's geared specifically to Canadian employers looking to hire foreign nationals through the labor market impact assessment process. So if you go over here to my site and you scroll down and you explore the courses right here, you can see the Spousal starts in October. I'm doing the express entry right now. And although I've done 2 live streams, there still is time for you to get in. They're both recorded. There's still 2 more opportunities for you to ask me any questions you want. You can load up every single question. There's no question goes unanswered. So the cart is still open. Oh, I shouldn't say this is the postgrad one. Sorry. This one here, the express entry course, this cart is still open. Even though we've had 2 master classes already, everything is recorded and available for you. But you can see here, LMIA course for high wage positions. So this course itself is really targeted to employers. So you as an employee can say, hey, employer, if you want to know how to do it, this is how you do it. And just watch Mark's course. He talks about the basics, recruiting and advertising, preparing and submitting your application, and employer compliance. Now, with the preparing and submitting, there's been some changes and I have to update just that part, but all of the principles are all the same, and especially the employer compliance obligations, because there's a lot of opportunity for having trouble with that. Okay. All right. So there we go. Let's keep zipping through there. So there we go, Alva. Okay. Let's see what's next here. Okay, Sukhpreet says, should we already start to ask the employers to provide an updated 5-digit knock code experience letter? Sukhpreet, it doesn't really make a difference. Understand that you don't even need to put the knock code in the letter itself. The key is just that the duties match the job description. So the duties in your reference letter match the duties set out in the position profile. That's really what you're focusing on. Alfred, CEC draws in the future. It's entirely possible. The minister has the ability to do that. He could, for example, say this draw is a CEC only that's targeting these occupations. He could do that. He says this is a CEC only draw targeting international graduates who have 1 year of post-grad work experience in Canada. He could do that, right? All right. Let's see here. And YouTuber says, my score is 43. Is there any hope for me getting an ITA? There is always hope. And like I talked about in the previous videos, the opportunities are really good for people inside Canada. If you're outside Canada, well, it becomes a lot more challenging. Excuse me. Okay, let's see here. Jessica says, hey, Mark, I've been watching your videos for a while, but this is my first time joining your live stream. Thanks for all your help. The channel is a great source of information. Thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate that. And one thing that I want to ask all of you fine people on the channel, I would love for you to come over here and click on the subscribe button, wherever it is, and click to get notified when I have my lives. Because this is one of the most important things that helps the message to get out to the masses and to get to more people. You know, if I could have 1,000 people watching these videos, 1,000 people tuning into the live streams here, that would be absolutely unbelievable. I would love it. So yes, that would be fantastic. Okay, let's jump back here to some more questions. And really, it's you guys telling everyone else, you got to check out Mark's live and check out the content on his site. And remember, it's all searchable. Okay. Okay, lots of people are asking, how long will it take for us to get our visitor visa? I've applied in July, so no answer till now. Well, you can pull it up in the same way. Processing times are readily available, and we talk about these a lot. Whenever we do these, people are always asking about processing times for IRCC. So I just do a Google search, processing times IRCC, and then it's pretty simple. So if I go here and I go temporary residence, and then I go visiting visa from outside Canada, and then I'll just say you're in India, who knows where you are, you can choose your country, and then you click processing times. And you can see here, 128 days. And that was last updated yesterday. All right, next question. So thank you, Christina. Okay, let's see. Okay, I love your handle there, Sodium. I really wish that you would have watched, go back and read my blog post. This is this is one of the things that I want you guys to be aware of. So these top 6 list, if you haven't listened to the video, if you scroll down here and we go down to number 6 on my list is that international students must be strategic about where they are studying in Canada. And the reason I say that is because IRCC, and let me get this a little bit larger so because this answers your question. So if we scroll down here in Minister's report, IRCC says that they are going to incentivize students to look beyond major urban centers when choosing a program of study. So when they say that, I listen, and you should listen too. And what that means is when you are going to study, as the case is for you here, at a school in Toronto, well, That's right in the mix of the vast majority of people. And so most people go to Ontario to study. In fact, the report, what did it say? I think it was like 48%, 49% of international students are headed to Ontario. And if there's that many students there and the pathways to PR is more competitive and express entry doesn't have its doors open, I always look to other locations like the Atlantic provinces to study, or studying in Alberta, where there's an Alberta opportunity stream that isn't capped, that doesn't restrict other than getting a job in your field. And then you have a pathway to permanent residence. It may not be as fast, but it's a lot more secure. There's so many people in Ontario trying to compete for limited spots. There just simply isn't space. And once you've studied and worked in one province, it's really hard to then transition to another. It's possible, but it's not as easy. So anyways, study permit has been submitted and it's over 60 days. I may receive a decision soon. Will the new knock affect my results? No, it doesn't apply at all. It doesn't have anything to do with that. So there was a long explanation for a question that wasn't really even asked, really, I guess. Okay, Barry says, is there any part ways for temporary foreign workers working in the ag sector? Well, on my list, the minister does have agriculture on there. Okay, let's try to mix it up and we'll try to get everybody some answers to their questions. Yeah, and Sammy's asking, like, as far as, do you know by chance when we'll receive the address confirmation email for 18 months extension for round 2 people? I've already sent OPT out email indicating my new address. Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything yet, Sammy. And if you look at the minister's report for round 2 emails, let's just take a peek exactly. Well, let's see if I can pull this up. It'll just take me a second because I have to dive into my courses and pull up the actual PowerPoint that the government put forward. I think I can share this with you. I've shared it in this is the slide deck of the technical briefing that I had for the program. And they have this right here, which let's see if I can view this. Just bear with me a second. Do you know what? It's okay. I can have that there. It's going to be a little rough, but it'll work. I want to share this with you guys so you can see it. Then we've got a little bit better answer here. So let me just go here and I'll go to PowerPoint. Okay, this is kind of small, but let's just try to blow it up a little bit bigger. I don't know how to shrink that down there. Okay, so you can see here. So round 2, it says mid-September. Oh, it looks like I can actually adjust this. Update address and passport details updated in IRCC secure account. So mid-September, and then early November work permits are mailed out. So the update address and passport details it will be updated in IRCC secure account by then. Postgrad work permits expiring between this passport address to be updated. So you would have updated your address, and they say mid-September is when things start to move here. So it has to be within well, it's a week behind, right? And I think that's what you've already alluded to. So I know how frustrating it is, you guys, because they say these things, right? They make all these promises, and then in the end, they're just not very good at delivering. And I would have been far more interested in under promising and over delivering versus the opposite. Sajad says, hey, Mark, I haven't received the email for changing address. Yes. Yet they said I should receive that email for round 2 mid-September. What should I do? Wait, Sajad. Many people are in that situation. Many are, as you've seen. You're not the only one who's stuck in that situation. Okay, Raj says, please advise if I can apply for express entry now if I already have a profile active in TR to PR, as I've been waiting for over a year on a final decision. Yeah, you can totally do it. There's no restrictions at all, Raj. And I help my clients do that all the time. So if you need any assistance with that, please don't hesitate to book a consult. Connect with me. There's a link below or one of the lawyers in our firm, but I do this routinely. If there are multiple options for a client and they're okay with paying processing fees that may not get returned, I will pursue whichever options are available. I will race all the way through that process, and whichever application wins and gets permanent residence for my client, fantastic. And then we just apply to withdraw the other one after permanent residence has been received, or unless immigration forces me to do something differently. Okay. Okay. Vibov says, I'm doing a Knockbee job through an agency. They're ready to provide everything for CEC, but the company will not give anything. Can I apply with only agency letter? No, you need to have the employer who's actually supervising and overseeing your work. This is complicated, Vibov. I recommend, once again, I'll ring my little bell here, that you connect and book a consult, and we can examine this, because I always find it so frustrating when you have these employers who are really exploiting you. You know, the fact that they're not willing to support you, but there may be some things. And once again, I deal with all of this, you guys, in my course, and I keep harping on the course, but it's a reality. In the course, that's where I have the ability to really dive in deep with people, and the material itself within the Express Entry step-by-step course right here. We address situations when you can't get a reference letter from your employer. It's a part of the, like I said, it's a part of the actual course. I'll even show you guys how it works. So if I have this, log in, and then I go to the Express Entry course, and then I scroll down here, module 6 is loaded with documents. And in here, I have records of employment. And in this section here, I've got a nice long video that talks about all the ins and outs, including how to select your knock. And I also have a checklist, a record of employment checklist that individuals can give their employers that sets out everything that's needed. But I also have built into here is, what if I can't get a reference letter right here? So all of these tools and resources are all embedded within the course. And like I said, there's still time to connect in. But there might be, if you want to book a consult, Bob, we can talk about it. There might be a way to save this. It just really frustrates me when employers are jerks. And I'll tell you the worst situation. And I wish this client would have just been willing to go forward and fight. But he was offered a position, and then the employer paid him as a contractor without him really understanding or knowing throughout the whole year that he worked for them. And then when he needed the letter confirming he was employed, they wouldn't do it. And they never remitted taxes on his behalf. And he all along thought he was working towards his CEC. And now he's lost a whole year. And personally, I think he was an employee. And personally, I think he could have went to Ontario Employment Standards and challenged that and got a decision that they owe him, vacation pay and things like that, as an employee. But you guys are kind. Like, you guys are just so willing to not rock the boat and just tough it up and just move on, when, my goodness, I would have been all over that employer, who obviously my client is not working for anymore and has moved on. So my heart just breaks for people in that situation. Thank you so much, Pavneet, for pointing this out. Exploitation for immigrants are going to increase for job offers and being underpaid. I gave up on a job under that type of employer. Now I'm working in second largest firm in BC that would not support LMIA. Horrible, Pavneet. I am so sorry. I know there's a cesspool of sleazy, scummy, people selling job offers. I did a short. I don't think it's been released yet. I did a YouTube short on this exact topic, but no, I don't think that I have actually, I don't think it's been released yet. If I look at my playlist here, what do I have on my shorts list? Let's see. IELTS is expiring. No, I don't have the job offer one yet. Let me give you guys a little tip, and I need to do a video especially on this. If you think you have a job offer, okay, there's 3 things that you need to ask yourself. 1, have I met the employer at all? Did they interview me? I'm not talking about the agent. I'm talking about the employer. Did they actually conduct an interview where I connected with a representative of the company, and not just the recruiting company, but the actual company? If the answer is no, there's a good chance that that job offer is fake. 2, did you pay the person providing you with the job offer? Did you pay them something? If you paid them something for that job offer, that is illegal, and that job offer is fake. And then the third one, when it comes to job offers, boy, I can't remember. What was the third thing? I can't remember. I went to bed at 4 a.m. this morning. I can't remember what the third thing was. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up because I had a little bit of a script. I'm going to tell you what the third thing is here in a second. Oh, this is what the government does to me, trying to stay on top of all of the changes and everything, and trying to get things up to date for you guys. Let's see here. I just got to pull it up. It's actually kind of funny now that I think about it that I can't even remember what the third one is. But boy, was it good. Let's see. Okay, medical expires. Doesn't care about stamps in your passport. And cooperative spouses. These are all the videos that I'm going to be doing. Comprehensive ranking, best method for increasing express entry, police certificates. Hope I have it in here. Otherwise, this will be a fruitless exercise. Let's see. Huh. Maybe I didn't do one. Oh, here we go. Maybe is this it? Hopefully there's something in here. Let's see. It's killing me that I can't remember. Dang it. I winged it. Okay, it was good. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. I've got reviews that I've got to do today. I'm preparing for a webinar that I'm doing with Journey Business Plans tomorrow. And I can't remember what the third freaking thing was. Okay. One was, if you haven't spoken with them, it's probably fake. Two, if you paid them, it's probably fake. What the heck was three? What was three? Job offers. It was really good too. I don't remember. Okay, there we go. Mark totally drew a blank, but hey, that's okay. Usually I'm just rattling things off, but less than 3 hours sleep is not enough sleep at night to function at peak performance. That's a little pro tip that I'm sharing with you guys. Okay, so yes, there are reasons and ways that you can identify it. So whatever you do, please pay attention. And the labor market impact assessment, that application, that form itself is a distinct document. I've got samples in my course that I give so people know when to detect a fake. But anytime, you guys, this is something that I always love to work with people. And if for whatever reason, you're just, you're not sure if something is legitimate or not, like, don't hesitate to book a consult. Trust me, it is worth it. But yeah, if it looks too good to be true, if you're paying money to the agent, it's definitely, more than likely a fake job offer. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Sunishka, I think go over and read my blog post, okay? Because this is not surprising at all. The government, they are going to start refusing more study permits from India and China, their top countries, because that's specifically what they said they were going to do. So in no way is that surprising at all. And if you read through this number 6 on my list of things to do, you can see that the minister indicated clearly that they are going to incentivize students to look beyond major urban centers when choosing a program of study. So I tell people, and if you watch the previous video, to be strategic in where you're applying. Outside of the major centers, I don't apply. I wouldn't recommend Ontario and BC if you're looking for permanent residence, because you're competing with too many other people. And otherwise you have to rely on the good graces of the federal government and express entry, whereas other people will have pathways to permanent residence in some other provinces through the PNPs and don't need to rely upon it. Remember, almost half of the total economic pathway is provincial nominee program applicants. Okay, Vishvesh says, hey, just saying hi, Mark. Great to see you again. Thank you again for helping. Even my wife is a PR now. Yes, just received her PR card. Thanks again. Fantastic. Oh, I love that. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, King says, dear Mark, thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask. I'm working abroad and my working visa is not matching my profession. Will that make a conflict when submitting my application for a work permit? My working visa is not matching my profession. I'm not quite sure what you mean. So if you have a work permit and you're working outside the confines of that work permit in that other country, then yeah, potentially it could be. I see this happen a lot in the UAE, right? Where you first get a work permit with a named position on it, and then you're promoted because you've been working there for 10, 15 years. So once again, I say, slide over and book a consult. And just to remind everybody, as of today, going forward, we have reduced rates for our consult. So just click to speak to a lawyer, and we'd love to help you. Alicia's really good at that kind of stuff. She's awesome. Okay, let's see what's next here. Okay, so I'm just the bottom. I'd highlight this again. I'm going to triangle this one because specific questions like this are really legal consults, and then we can dive into things and sort it out properly. Okay. Okay. Moen says, so, hi, sir. And lots of people ask this question. For your information, okay, my Indian passport was expiring. So I renewed it from Canada. Do I need to get a new PCC for the new passport, or the old one will hold good? Yeah, passports are not linked to PCCs for the purposes of permanent residence in Canada. As long as you are showing and explaining that the old passport, if there are identifying features, if you want, out of an abundance of caution, include, a copy of the data page from the old passport when you upload your current passport, you can do that. And then just a simple LOE saying the PCC was issued, when I had the old passport, but it's pretty intuitive. I don't usually get too fussed about that. Neither does IRCC. Okay, Malik says, are we allowed to study for a degree outside Canada online while being on a postgrad work permit, since the postgrad work permit mentions we're prohibited from attending educational institutions for academic courses? Malik, why are you not in Canada working on that postgrad work permit towards PR? Studying for a degree outside Canada is just, I don't know. You're burning up your postgrad. I think that's really the question to ask. But, can you study if you're outside Canada and you don't have any connection to Canada? Well, who cares? You can do whatever you want. If you want to pay a Canadian school a whack of money, understand that once you complete that studies, even if potentially it could be eligible for a postgrad under normal circumstances, the fact you already have one, you've burned it up, you're not getting another one. So yeah, the question I'm asking you is, why are you not in Canada, working on that postgrad work permit instead of it being, burned up? Okay, let's see here. Okay, Lima says, hi, Mark, does working as a teacher assistant with paid salary while study in the same college count in CRS? Well, it can if you're outside Canada, but inside Canada, it doesn't if you're studying full time. So, yeah, for the purposes of claiming the Canadian work experience and Canadian experience class in particular, the regulations are specific that if you're in full-time studies in Canada, then you can't count that experience gained while you were doing it. Okay. All right. Andrekia says, was the decision made to open the new portal from September 21st? I'm very late. Sorry. No, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. But no. Okay. Yeah. Samanpreet, I'm working as a cook in Manitoba, but PNP draws are going so high. Is any hope? It always comes back to that LMIA. It always comes back to the occupations that you're working in. And when the vast majority of people are working in service-related industries, one of the things that I advised in the blog post that is posted this morning is that it is absolutely critical to be very careful in what programs you're taking, that they have pathways to jobs in industries where there are occupations that are in shortage and that you can get a job. So it's a very strategic plan. And most times when you're working with education agents overseas, they themselves do not, they're just focused on getting you to go to the schools that are paying the money that they have contracts with. And so, they're not going to advise you to go to Atlantic, Canada. So you have the Atlantic immigration program, or that, your program is probably not going to allow you to get a job in Manitoba. And therefore you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to take a survival job as a cook. Like, people don't talk about that. Okay. Abdul says, what is the use? I saw your previous video and I found my shot to Canada is far away. Well, that could very well be a good response, Abdul. The reality is Canada is not going to be open to everybody in the world. They have to pick and choose their priorities. And when you have winners in Canada, you have people that are left out outside of Canada. And like if you watch the video, the reality is it's entirely possible that the minister could do targeted draws, although understand, without a doubt, the priority is people working in Canada. Well, Abdul, job offers, right? If you've got a work experience and employers in Canada are looking to try to find someone with your skill set, well, that's what I was explaining in the video. So ultimately, yeah, you have to make decisions and you have to choose. And one of the reasons I'm honest is that I don't want people wasting money going down paths that have no future. And I'd rather people say, oh, it doesn't look like Canada's an option, I'm going to pursue a different country. I'd rather have them do that than go down a path waiting, writing IELTS over and over, hoping for an ITA when there's literally there's no prospect of getting that approved. So thanks for your comment there. That was actually really good. Okay, Raul says, hey, Mark, 2.5 months left on my work permit, trying to go through spousal sponsorship. Is there any difference or added advantage in spousal sponsorship for a Canadian citizen or someone in PR? Not really. It's processed the same way. Okay, this LinkedIn person said, I got my visitor visa in 15 days. Well, that's pretty fast, and it depends on which country. And that's a good point, because even with the listed processing times, sometimes we see things go through faster. So, okay. Oh, what do we have here? Raj. On Facebook, Raj says, hey, Mark, after waiting for 2 years for the owner-operator work permit, I finally got my passport request. Wife and younger daughter also got the same. However, my elder daughter's application still shows that it's in process. Do you know how long it will they take to process the pending family member visas? They were all applied together. That's something I really don't know. I don't know, but hey, congratulations on getting that passport request. That is fantastic. Oh, great. Okay, there it is. So someone got a visa in 15 days in New Delhi. That's great. Okay. Hi, Mark. I submitted yesterday my profile. Today I received this email from CIC. Your application status has changed. When I log into my GC Key account, there is no changes. What does it mean? I don't know, my friend. This is 100% a consultation. I highly recommend you slide over so we can take a look at it together via Zoom call. Go over here, book a consult. You can book with Alicia as well. All of our rates are dropped for this month. So if you guys take advantage of this, you can get consults, $100 cheaper than you normally would with Alicia and I for sure. And then Chanel and Cedric are right in that range as well. But it's all about trying to make pathways for you guys to be able to get answers that you can trust. Okay. All right. Raj says, I applied for Muscat, Oman, and visa gets issued by Abu Dhabi visa office. Okay. Let's see here. Just scrolling down to see if I can find some other ones as we're getting closer to wrapping up here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this individual here, not sure the name, says he's an international student. He's in his 4th year at university. Is there any good policies coming out soon to get PR? I don't have a work experience and not graduated yet. So the key for you is to do as well as you can in school. Do as well as you can. Work so hard. Get as high grades as you can. Make yourself as competitive as possible. And then really, really work hard to make sure your language is good and try to get a job in your field. I don't know which province you're in, but if you can do that, then you're going to have a lot of options. The government sees you as a huge, huge priority. And really above all applicants, international students who come study and then work are ones that the government likes the most. And that's clear with all of the messaging that's coming from the government. Let's see. Okay, Noah's asking an interesting question here. What do you think about the new Alberta Advantage immigration program, rural streams? Well, the reality is, those rural communities, they are the ones that they're the ones driving the ship. And even just up the road here, Tabor is now one of those communities on that list. The key is going there, working in them, right? That's really what it comes down to. Going there, getting a job there. And then when you're already working there, it's those that are already working that really are given priority for transition for those very limited spots. Okay, Sashad, thanks. I don't know if I'm amazing, but HP's over in Newfoundland. Good to see you. Let's see what else here. Okay, so Among says, thanks for everything. If I worked in a private home setting, knock 3012, what should I write in the employment letter in the place of company letterhead? So I would put exactly where you worked. You know, the reality is I had a consult this morning with someone who was wondering how to put virtual work experience in their profile. And so they had put an address that actually wasn't accurate anymore because the company had gone virtual, and now they're trying to sort out how best to make that work. And it becomes really, really complicated, but you're just going to say it like it is. The letter of explanation is a secret sauce, something that I teach in my course all the time. Those letters of explanation are used to deal with situations like that where you're just not entirely certain. Ultimately, in the employment letter, in the place of company on the letterhead, that letterhead needs to match up with whatever you put in your actual work history section. But if you're working in a private home setting, that's what you're going to indicate. That's going to be the location of work. Raj says, looks like you look at questions only from YouTube. Let me post it there. I'm assuming Raj didn't see I answered his questions already. Something similar happened to me with the employer. So check the job 100 times before accepting the offer. Jenny, that breaks my heart. There's so many scammers out there. Okay, Rahab says, my husband applied for spousal sponsorship on the 31st of July, 2022. Well, that's just recently, and processing times are quite high. Bengali living in Saudi Arabia. So the processing times, you can pull those up. And we've talked a lot about how to find processing times. When you go to the government site, you search family sponsorship, you search spouse or partner living outside Canada, and then you click processing times. You can see right now it's listed at 23 months. So that's what you've got waiting for you. Okay. You're very welcome, Axel. Very, very welcome. Let's see if we've got, okay. It will come back to you later, Mark. Thanks. I appreciate that, Amy. I really do. Yes, this is the scam. Exactly. Thank you for identifying that. Employers take 1 year advance salary in cash and pay back monthly. Yeah, it's just a crooked scam for those. It just makes me angry, I'll be honest, you guys, because those employers are the ones that are ruining it for other employers. And in fact, they're getting a competitive economic advantage because they're basically having someone work for free. It's awful. I wish the government would completely shut them down. I wish you guys would stand up and but I know how desperate you are to come here. You're willing to do anything. And when you're in that vulnerable state, yeah, it becomes awful. Okay, My Canada Vlogs. Does IRCC look at previous applications like study permit and work permit TRV when looking at PR? They can, and they do. And if they have a reason to go back, if you have information in there that isn't consistent with what you have in your PR, that's misrepresentation. And it's something that we deal with a lot with our clients. If you see that there's an issue, Alicia is awesome at dealing with these things. I strongly, strongly encourage that you connect to our site. And right now it's $100 cheaper for the rest of this month to book a consult with Alicia. So I recommend that you do that because she can help you to navigate through that. In fact, if we go to our website as well, and we look at, she's the queen of misrep and dealing with it. If we go to our blog and we type in here, misrep, and just search, it should pull it up, I think. Part words. Yes. Why misrepresentation should scare you. We did that last Halloween. Her and I did a video on it, but she went through in detail, and I strongly, strongly encourage you to go take a look at this because it's, and then there's our video. yeah, misrep is something that you shouldn't take lightly. And lots of people, I'm sure there's lots of reps out there or helpful people that will say, oh, don't worry about it. Don't say anything. They won't look at it. But every single one of our clients, we disclose it, we deal with it up front, and it's dealt with. And, you know, knock on wood or whatever you want to knock on, every single client that we've tried to correct their application, I've never had IRCC come back and throw the book at them. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. But continuing to misrepresent is just not an option. Okay. Alva says, thanks, Mark. By the way, I miss Immigration Nation. I still do remember the one with Becky. Amazing. Well, that is something I'm definitely going to restart. Yes. Thank you. Here's another example. Fake if someone tells you, I can find you a job and get you work visa. It doesn't work that way. Well, I will qualify, okay? I will qualify this. There are recruiters out there that can absolutely say those things, but you're not paying them a dime because the employer is paying them to help you make the connection. So they have connections with employers who've retained them to recruit candidates from abroad. And in that situation, the employer is the one that's footing the bill. They're hiring the recruiter to go to the country and source workers, but the workers don't pay anything. That is the massive difference. And then if the recruiter, you know, I have relationships with recruiting companies that I'm establishing now because I can see where the future is going, then I will handle the work permit and then they will pay me to assist with the work permit. And sometimes the employer will cover those costs as well. So that's the only distinction. It really comes down to them asking for money to do that. But you're right, with that approach, it sounds sketchy from the beginning. Erin says, I've got 504. Do you think I'm going to get drawn? All right. We got to do this every single time, don't we, you guys? It goes without saying. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with this. Okay, so the question becomes, will Erin with 504 get drawn next week if there's a round of invitations? I'm going to pull up the most recent round. We're going to take a look at it. So you can see right here, September the 14th. So 1 week from today, that last draw, which occurred, so September the 14th is when the no program specified draw, it was 510, okay? When we look at the amount of people that are in here, and that was since September the 12th, for sure more people have come in. For sure they have. But 501, you can see here, we know that it was 510. So from 501 to 510 at the minimum, none of these people were drawn. So how many of these ones in this, after they've been flushed out, are right around this range? Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But these at least 3,250, as we say here, are flushed out. So will it drop down to 504? The tumbler's rolling here. The tumbler's rolling. 504. Will it get down to that level? 3,250. 501. I'm going to say yes. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say yes. All right. So let's see if Erin gets it at 504. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And then Erin, you're going to book a consult and we're going to work through all of the logistics so that you take advantage of that ITA and you don't make those simple little mistakes that result in all of the consults that I get over and over and over again, trying to fix things that were done improperly in the profile. So, all right. Thanks so much, guys. It was great having everybody in. We've hit the 11:01 mark and I've got a consult that I've got to jump on in just a little bit. Consults are booming, but there still is time. I've got lots of space on Friday. I'm going to work on Friday, and Alicia does as well as Cedric and Chanel. So we all have capacity. That's why we dropped the rates. When we have room and we've got time available, then we do whatever we can to try to help people and make it as easy as possible for them. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Another great live. Oh, you guys, you always do this. Okay, let's see the super. So I think I may have answered both of these, but let me just double check because I don't want to miss. So, okay, so we've got, you guys are always doing this to me, aren't you? Tossing in these supers at the last minute. Okay, let's see here. So super should be my Canada vlogs. Okay, I think I answered it. You have posted it like 10 times, so I think I did indeed answer that one. And I'll answer it again. Does IRCC look like study permits? Yeah, I covered that in length. So I think we're good with that one. And then the last super, so we don't leave anyone hanging. LJH. I think I answered this one as well, but let's just see. Okay, so I think this is the question that was asked. Can social insurance records be used in lieu of bank statements when claiming foreign work experience? Well, yeah. So think of it this way, okay? You need to prove not only that you've performed the duties, a substantial number of the duties in that knock, and what I address always with my clients is the magical site. If you have not gone to this site, you guys, this is the bomb. This is the one that's going to be the most used to everybody. IRCC Express Entry Completeness Check website. So it's this one here. And then I go down to reference letters right here. And then I go down to the specific issues. So in that your job to prove, and yes, it says in the reference letter, it should have this information, but your job is to prove your job title, duties and responsibilities, job status, dates worked, number of hours worked per week, and annual salary plus benefits. So pay slips confirm your salary. And at times they also can confirm hours per week, although the employer can put that in their letter. But when it comes to pay slips, if they're available, it comes down to meeting this requirement right here. So if you're in a situation where you don't have, like as far as the bank statement, when you're claiming foreign work experience, the government doesn't actually ask you to provide a bank statement if you have pay slips. If you have those, then that's sufficient. But if you don't, and then people will rely on direct deposits if they have them into their bank account, showing that the money was paid, that their work was paid. And if you don't have bank statements, then when you indicate social insurance records, it's usually income tax records, like tax records from the revenue authority that are collecting your taxes from your employment income. And every country is a little bit different. So I'm not sure what's actually listed on your social insurance records, but the reality is if it does list your work and it has details about how much you were paid and it's an official government document, then that's pretty persuasive. And that fits generally into the list of things that you can include when you don't have a reference letter. So awesome. So that's a great one. All right, guys, we've hit the end of the road. Finally, I'm glad I checked that out quick. Thanks so much for tuning in as always. Yeah, thanks. Okay. All right.